The union representing staff at Amazon's UK base claims that many have developed physical and mental illnesses because of an aggressive work regime. And this follows an expose the weekend by the New York Times, which revealed a target-driven culture in which Amazon employees were allegedly forced out after suffering personal health problems. The online giant's founder has urged worried workers to come forward. Sky's Tom Parmenter has been investigating.
Maybe when it's one of the millions of packages delivered each day.
On the surface, life in the Amazon tech jungle is rosy. Sales up 20% in recent months to over $23 billion.
You either fit here or you don't. You love it or you don't.
Now, though, the New York Times has revealed just why some workers hate it.
We did out people who felt they were evaluated too harshly, people who suffered from cancer and serious pregnancy loss, who were evaluated very quickly after those things happened.
In the UK, the target-driven culture has led to similar accusations. Amazon monitors workers' productivity in distribution centres by tracking them. In order to meet targets, a union says employees don't take breaks, don't go to the toilet, and get injuries, stress and depression. In recent research, one worker said, "I felt like a slave trapped in a big metal cage." The conditions weren't appalling, but it was demeaning.
It's not a sustainable way to run an organisation to expect your staff to perform at that levels constantly, and if they dip below certain levels, then to punish them, and fundamentally then to chuck them out of a job.
Responding to the latest claims in the US, the company's founder Jeff Bezos emailed all staff to say that it wasn't the company that he knew. If there were examples of poor management, he wanted staff to email him directly. One of his top advisors faced the American media.
I think the fundamental flaw in the story is the suggestion that any company that had the kind of culture that the New York Times wrote about, and sort of a cruel Darwinian or Dickensian kind of atmosphere in the workplace, could survive and thrive.
Amazon loved to innovate, trialling drones for their drops. The recent tax controversies had little effect on the business. Customers care about price and whether their parcel is on time. The motto here is work hard, have fun, make history. While some workers thrive in it, others say it pushes people too hard. One thing, though, doesn't change. There are always people lining up to work here and at their across Britain. Amazon say they are committed to treating workers with dignity and respect, and their practices are in line with other big distribution firms. Delivering the goods is a competitive business. Tom Parmenter, Sky News, Milton Keynes.
Well, joining me now is the brand and reputation expert, Jonathan Gabay. Jonathan, it will be an image and brand problem for them. I mean, they are huge, but they won't like the sound of this. Their staff being allegedly treated like not much better than cattle by the sound of some of these reports.
Okay, well, what's happened is they asked over 100 people of existing and former employees, and some of these people have said, or rather alleged, that this sort of practice goes on. Now, if it does go on, it is for Jeff Bezos, or Bezos, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but it's for Jeff to actually show the audience. Now, the audience there's two audiences in every brand. There's the organisation, right, and that's made of the people of the brand, and the organisation serving the people who are outside. So he's got to show that he's doing something about it. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. In fact, in that report there, your reporter used the word Dickensian. Well, you know, this time and motion thing is a Dickensian thing. It's just been put into new data. And, in fact, everything that Amazon does is driven by data. And in fact, a lot of what all these brands are doing now is driven by data. And so whether you're a white-collar worker or whether you're a blue-collar worker, this time and motion, you're measured by algorithms all the time, all the time, all the time. This takes away the heart and the soul of a brand. You know, Jeremy, when a brand, I've been asked over the years, we've known each other, and I've been asked many times to sum up what is a brand. I would say this, which camera is this on? Is it on that camera?
No, have a look at 7. That'll do.
Seven, number 7. I would say this to any brand leader, including you, the 5th most richest man in the world, according to Forbes, Mr. Bezos. A brand is having a good name. And having a good name is what other people say about you, especially your workers. So if you can't please the internal brand, you're never going to please the external brand. I shared a stage recently with the dean of Cranfield Management School, who was from Harvard Business School, and we spoke about customer service and employees and that sort of idea. And it really boils down to this: do not be driven just by the algorithms. Remember, there's a person behind it all.
I suppose the big thing is, how damaging potentially could it be? And will customers turn away, or do customers say, oh, well, I don't care how they run it, as long as they deliver the goods to me?
Okay, now this is the saddest thing of all. This is the absolute saddest thing of all. I remember, I think I saw you once about a coffee company. Okay,
yes.
And that's
a
well-known coffee company, Angelic. And the question was, would people stop actually buying coffee there because of allegations to do with taxes and stuff like that? I said then, go to your local branch, and I bet you everyone's buying coffee.
Yeah.
And that's the saddest thing. The saddest thing is that people are allowing themselves to be driven by algorithms, rather than algorithms actually supporting people. It's really sad, but that's what's happened to brands.
So we, the public, who could put pressure on them by behaving in a
No, you won't do
way.
anything. You will still buy books, including my book. Unless, of course, he's going to decommission it now because I've annoyed him. But including my book from Amazon. Look, having pressure on people is good in short term in terms of good. You don't want people to be lazy and all that sort of idea, and you want to give people some sort of a challenge. But Amazon, what they say there, one of the things that they say over there is that if there's a brick wall, climb it. What I say is, if there's a brick wall, give them the first step to help them climb it. Do you see what I mean? And then, yes, let them climb it. Look...
but you're saying they're bigger than the public, really? That we, the public, aren't going to make much of a dent in them, even if their brand potentially might be tarnished by something.
No, I'm saying this is a much bigger story than Amazon. This Amazon is a very small fish in this story, because it's what's happening with brands all over the place. Brands, right, they're going out of their way to make themselves appear very personal, very personable, you know, your friend next door and all that sort of idea. But you've got to treat people with respect. Now, of course, if people are going to shirk and all that sort of idea, and then they have to take the consequences. And that is quite right. If these allegations are proven to be true, then, you know, things must be done. As I said, when I spoke with the dean, the former dean from Harvard about this, we both agreed, okay, that despite technology, if you want it all to work, and then just remember, you're dealing with people, not algorithms. That's all you have to remember.
But there are two things, aren't there? Is how you as a business treat your workers, and how you as a business treat your buying public. And I suppose if the buying public are happy, they will say, well, does it matter what the people who produce the goods are like?
Well, there you go. That's a really sad state that we're in terms of a society state. In terms of, all I know is this, is that clinical depression is now, and he mentioned this in your report, clinical depression is now the second biggest medical condition in the world. People are under so much stress, whether it's going to be at Amazon, at Google, or anywhere else that we want to name. It doesn't really matter, okay? What we've got to do is treat people decently. And you know what? By using correct psychology, correct brand psychology, I think you're actually going to get even more out of people. Not because they're urged to do it, but because they want to do it.
That's a very positive note to finish on, Jonathan. Good to talk to you as always. Thank you very much indeed. A British man has allegedly confessed